Welcome to the Ride of My Life podcast. I'm Rena, and I'll be sharing with you what it's like as I go out on the road while working through the emotions and challenges that go along with it. As I develop my knowledge and awareness, I hope to connect with you on this journey. Hey everyone, I'm Rena, and this is the Ride of My Life podcast. And it is also my interview series. And today I have a very, very special guest, Noel Neu, who is he's a therapist, but we'll go a little bit more into what exactly he does. But he's part of this interview series, and the really cool thing about this interview, and I so appreciate the fact that you agreed to do this, is that I've known Noel now for about 2 years, a little probably longer than 2 years, and we've gone through a lot of healing individually and together in partnership with our duo that we had put together a couple of years ago called In Divinity. And we produced 2 EPs out of it. We wrote 33 or so songs from it, and we healed our way through it. And it's really important because some of the things that he may talk about, it deals with songwriting therapy or songwriting involved in how it works with healing. So Noel, I'm going to do a real quick intro about you, and then we'll just get right into the questions. So, so with Noel, there's and I know this personally, obviously, but I'm just gonna read you his bio. It's a unique approach to mental health and well-being. Through decades of both clinical practice and songwriting, Noel has cultivated a deep understanding of human behavior and a distinct ability to process emotion through song. He sees many parallels between the two fields and has found ways to integrate them into his practice within his open heart method, or OHM, OHM, which is fantastic. I have to say that. We can talk about it more later, but I think that's great. If you're turned off by talk therapy, you can give Noel's Songwriting for Wellness a try, which we'll go into a little bit, and learn to communicate and process your emotions through original music creation. Or if you want to learn more about your emotions through music as a listener, you can visit his music medicine cabinet to practice mindful listening and shift your mood. And you know what, Noel, I think I'll let you go more into your open heart method. I don't really think I need to read any more about it because that's kind of what this conversation is going to be about anyway. But also at the very end and on the links within YouTube and Anchor and wherever else this is, I'll have links to his website, to the different stuff that he has online where you can connect with him. But we'll get to that later. Right now, I just want to say welcome. Thank you for agreeing, and I'm so happy to do this with you.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for asking. I mean, we've done a lot of different things together. But this is fun because this is yours. This is your podcast, your energy, and I'm here to help support that in any which way. And like you say, to bring attention to, what I'm doing. It's a double win.
Yes. Thank you so much, Noel. Okay, so here we go. Let's go on with the questions. The first question, basically, I kind of gave an idea of what it was by reading the bio, but what is it that you do?
Okay, well, so I have the moniker, the songwriting therapist. So when you go to my website, noelneu.com, and what do I do? So for the last 20 years, I've been in the mental health field. For the last 30 years, I've been a songwriter, musician, dabbling and then going deeper into it. So I've always wanted to do something with music. And then, like I said, discovered 20 years ago, I'm a therapist. It kind of came downloading into me rather than me looking for it and doing my own work starting back in 1998. And so over the last, probably since about 2012, and by the way, I've had my practice open since 2007. I've been in, like I said, I've been in the field since 2000. But but since 2012, I had 5 years in my own practice doing quite well, and I was like, I need to do something more, something else, and went in, tried some things. I started a treatment program, became all this kind of stuff. You know, that wasn't it. Then stopped that. Then I was going on my own. I was going to be a musician, traveling around town here in West Palm Beach County. And then that wasn't it. Then I met you, Carolyn. We're going on almost 3 years now because it's 19. We'll
Wow.
be 22. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my
February
God.
22.
Yeah.
So, and then we did our thing together. And then that helped me to kind of discover, okay, it's definitely, and then back to therapy. It's definitely therapist slash coach slash mentor slash spiritual guide and musician, meaning songwriter that creates music that helps people to heal. And so that's what the songwriting therapists got married together into therapy and songwriting. And as a matter of fact, the moniker on Instagram and Facebook is at songwriting therapy, you know, to kind of like tie them in. So so that's what I do. That's why I do it. You know, this is the first time really both passions have been brought to the forefront. Because when I was just doing therapy, the music subsided. When I was just doing music, the therapy subsided. And so now, really, and then again, and when I say therapy, I mean the actual therapy and crisis and moving through that. And I also mean the growth, personal growth development that I do through coaching, and then that's the open heart method.
Mhm. Well, you know, I mean, having known you now, you said for almost 3 years,
Yeah.
I do know something, and this has always really blown me away, the fact, and it happened with us. So the energy between us worked the same way as the energy works with you. And I was so new to the music anyway, it wasn't, you had already been doing it since your early 20s and probably longer than that. And what I want to say is that for those of you who are into the music aspect of it, he has written probably by himself, I think you can correct me, over 300 songs. And maybe the 33 was included in that. I don't know, but yeah, it has always blown me away how you download the actual music, how you you know, how the songwriting comes through you, and it's just so powerful to me to know that about you and to have witnessed that about you, and to know that having that background in therapy adds to this process, which can help people to heal themselves, because music is healing in its own right. You know, to me, it's always been a healing process, you know, because the words, the music itself, the notes, you know, however you look at it, however you come into music. But it's so unique what you're doing. I'd love it if you could talk a little bit about what this Om is.
Okay, well, no, and I appreciate it. So yeah, so I'll go into that because that's more of the therapy coaching side. Open heart method. So the word Om, and I got into some really deep meditation practices back in now it's 4 years ago, the end of 2017, and and a deep practice. And what I learned a lot of stuff, but one of the things I learned was the word Om is an amplifier. So, you know, saying the word Om before anything amplifies whatever you put after it. And so that Om is spelled, well, I mean, who knows that? It's AUM sometimes, it's OM, you know what I mean? Aum, Om, you know. It's the sound of, actually, the sound of the universe. It's every possible sonic vibration into one, and it sounds just Om like that. So that's Om, and then when you say it, especially in Sanskrit, but in any type of, you know, those that, you know, practice yoga or do any type of Eastern meditation know the Sanskrit different sayings. It elevates and it amplifies whatever you put after it.
Mhm.
So that's Om. Now OHM is a measure of resistance and electricity. There was a gentleman by the name of Ohm. His last name is Ohm, and I forget his first name now. I had it all down, but I forget it now. But he's a German science electrical physicist, who discovered what actually to create electricity, the level of resistance is what creates the energy of the field that lights our light bulbs and, you know what I mean, charges our electricity. And so that level of resistance called ohm. So using that, the ohm amplifier and the ohm of resistance, um, the open heart method, which is OHM, right, is established. And what it does is help people through their resistance from their hearts to go from their heads to their hearts, their minds to their souls, so to speak, and then amplify their work of who they truly are. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of the essence behind it. And then, and then all the aspects of Om is going from head to heart, going from
Mm-hmm.
mind to soul. And then I've already got some things in action on that. I'm building a course around that. On my website, I have a PDF that I give out for free called Face Your Fears, and then the different parts of face, forgiveness, acceptance, compassion, empathy, and all these kind of things. So that's really where my main focus is right now, as far as putting the information out,
Mm-hmm.
and then the music comes in alongside it, as well.
Which brings me to something that you and I had worked on together, which it all kind of blends it, because in my past I have done body work and with other people as a massage therapist. And when we got together, I remember, as I had already known about the vibration of the different hertz. And you had already, when I met you, you had your guitar set to 432 hertz. And I was like, I got so excited about that. And what's interesting is that the work that you're doing mind to heart, which is sometimes, I don't want to say sometimes, generally the longest distance between two places is moving from the head to the heart. And that's some of the work that I was doing. And then coming together with you and how it literally blends with music, because music heals the body through the vibration, and you can just connect all of this stuff together, because the vagus nerve, there's people out there who do work with holding a sound and healing the vagus nerve, so it heals the body. So it's all the sound and vibration and amplification and electricity, because we have that electricity going through our body as well. And it's so incredible how you're taking that and kind of coming full circle and pulling all this together into this program, into these processes, formats, whatever it is that you're doing. And anything to do with that type of thing will help people heal, because like some of the work that I do is more reflective of the body work, and how healing the body also helps with healing the mind. So it all goes together regardless. And then bringing in the spirit as a completion, or not a completion, just, surrounding it.
Yes.
To help with the healing, I think is important. But I wanted to add that, because that's what excites me about what you do, what you're doing with this. So before I ask you the next question, because that's going to take us in a whole different direction, was there something you wanted to add to that, or are you complete with this part?
No, that's good. I mean, that's really what OM, the open heart method, is, and the work that I do with that. So, it's probably a question down the road, and I'll repeat it if I need to. But I call it open heart mastery, which is also another line for OM, and that's when people that are, beyond the crisis mode into the personal development growth, which would be more coaching than therapy. But I kind of blend the whole thing in anyways. But that what the open heart mastery is, using these techniques and different things so that you can go from mind to heart or soul.
Yes.
And that's where the course I'm developing, and also, and in a little bit we'll go over a meditation, a little brief meditation that came to me that, and I, again, could practice. It's just 4 statements, and I'll go into it deeper. But all these little things, it's almost the littler the thing, the more profound it has. And like you said, the music and the different frequencies and vibrations all connect with it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. Awesome. So, okay, now here we go. This is the fun part. I want you to go in a little bit with your story and how you got to the point of getting, I mean, you went in a little bit of from the last few years when we were working together, but if you could share a little bit of your story and why and the process, and then how you actually got into the work.
Oh, yeah, sure. So, and by the way, that also, I've used that to help many people, especially people in their 20s or 30s that, because, that don't know, what am I doing here?
Mhm.
Who am I? What am I doing here? And that hit me like a bolt of lightning at the age of 27. So the long and the short of it is, only child. I always say this: I'm only child that has three half brothers and two stepsisters. But I grew up by myself, just me and my mom, and But I had my cousins and my grandparents and all that, and my dad was, saw him in summers and winters for a little bit. But so me and my mom grew up, did the life, um, just kind of in this, you know, regular life. It's a good life, but never really feeling fulfilled, and then getting to college and finding my major, which is my family's business, which was building construction. And so I just took it and I enjoyed it and had a wonderful time in college. Um, you know, did my share of partying, did my share of studying, graduated with honors, and the music blasted in me. I started learning guitar at 13. The music blasted in me when I was in the middle of Prains Prairie at the University of Florida in a drum circle, and realized that I can write songs playing this acoustic guitar. And so at the age of 21, 22. So I go full into that. I graduate from school and I get a job in building construction, building Johnson and Wales University and North Miami Hospital and Baptist Hospital and all these gigantic things, big giant corporate, things. And I was in the corporate world in my 20s, burned out, self-medicating, and functioning at a high level externally, but internally completely dead in my mid 20s to mid to late 20s. And so I hit bottom at, I came to Palm Beach County on a job. I switched jobs and worked for this other big giant corporation in 1997. And I was like, I need help. And I went in, I got help from a therapist. And literally in the first half hour of the session, I still remember it back in, whatever, May of 97. I was like, I feel heard, I feel listened to, I feel validated, I feel empathized with. This is literally what I've been looking for my whole life. And I'm like, I'm all in. So what I did was I got clean and sober, which I've been since, December 24th, 1998. Um, and, uh, and just went to work on myself. Retired from construction because it was burning me out. It was literally destroying me. And it wasn't that was doing it, was my own self not knowing who I was or what I was doing, and went full into just groups, individuals as a client, self-help work, 12 steps, daily, mind, body, soul. I was working out. I was doing the work of my spiritual work, mental work, in the recovery rooms and with my therapist and the groups. And around year one or two, year two, I'm in this group, and the person sharing next to me, and I've been with these people every Wednesday night for about a year at that point, and got to know them pretty well, and they know me. And all of a sudden, somebody was sharing, and I just raised my hand. I'm like, I got something for her, and that's when I first called it a download. And I've heard you say, we say that. That's what I mean by download. It was literally downloaded into me what to say to this person, this other group member. I had no training. I had no, but I was in therapy for a while. You know what I mean? It's like that commercial, the Holiday Inn Express. You know what I mean? I know what to do. I stayed in the Holiday Inn Express. Well, that's what I was. I was like, I had no training, but I knew what was going on. And so I said what was coming to me without editing it. And the other therapists there were like, wow, that's good. I immediately, we worked on that. And I immediately went into my therapist's office. I know what I want to do. I want to do what you're doing. And I literally went all in, volunteered at the crisis hotline, listened to children program, and I went to Nova Southeastern University and just went all in. And so, and I just, at 30 years old, was back in school getting my master's. At 32, I graduated and started in the mental health field as an intern, and then got hired and quickly realized that this is what I don't like is corporate. And so I didn't like corporate in construction. I didn't like corporate um, in mental health. Now, I'm not here to badmouth corporate. It's just for me. And what I didn't know is I was an entrepreneur. And so an entrepreneur working for corporate America, no matter what field it is going to be not fulfilled. Not, yeah, not, you can't be fulfilled doing that.
Yeah.
Certain people that aren't entrepreneurial, if they try to be entrepreneurial, they're not going to be fulfilled. They're going to be scared half to death. So, it fits that, you know what I mean? And so yeah, I didn't know that at the time. So I was blaming first construction management, which is rough. And then I was blaming mental health field, which is also can be rough on the practitioners if you're working for a big agency or firm or a treatment center. And so I left that. So by the way, every time I jumped, I just jumped out. So when I jumped from construction, I had nothing. And so I went into debt, but I didn't go into debt spiritually, but I went into debt financially. Then I got my degree, and then I started getting paid to do that, and I jumped from that. I jumped from corporate mental health. And I started my practice quite early. I worked for an agency. It was a 60-40 split, and got my, because you got to be a 2-year intern with my credential. And then I got my 1 week, I got my test. I took my test. I passed as a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. And I'm like, I'm starting my own practice. Again, it downloaded into me one morning, one in the middle of the night. And I turned around, I wrote it down on law of attraction stuff, wrote down my whole business plan on a sheet of paper, and I followed it. I started my own practice with 2 offices in 2007. I opened them up with no money and no credit, but I just had the energy of the fulfillment, and extraordinarily happy. So that's really what I got into mental health and really my own practice. And then I started doing that 5 years into it, and that's where I catch up to the story that I left off on in
Hmm.
the beginning. I was like, okay, this is great, but there's still something more. And so since 2012, I've tried to write books. I've had 3 books and stuff like that, and all this kind of stuff. And then, like you said, several hundred songs, all this kind of things. And now finally, as we're sitting here on the verge of 2022, it's like I'm getting now, the first time, what I'm doing here. You know what I mean? I've been doing it anyways, but how to like actually get to whoever's supposed to get to as many people or
Hmm.
whatever it is.
Hmm.
That's what the songwriting therapist is.
Awesome. That's great. I think that for the people who watch on this podcast, I think it would be really cool to hear also. I mean, that's a great story because I love how you just jump out with like it's all faith. It's like blind faith. And you jump from the one thing to the next. And I've noticed, I know that about you. Even through the struggles you've had as well from that I also knew about you. And what I'd like this question from that, I'd love to know what your biggest turning point was, the hardest, if you're willing to, share that in those struggles, because everyone, it's not ever this really like path like this. There's like this one thing, or there's a few one things that kind of, so if there's like a turning point that you could share to connect with my audience, your audience, however you want to say that, I'd love to hear that. I'd love for them to hear that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So really, it boils down to I could literally I have more than this, but definitely the 3 main ones was in 97 or 98, and then in 2006, and then really just a couple of years ago, you know what I mean, or actually whatever it's been now. So, but the first one was obviously the most challenging. They've all been scary and daunting, but the first one was quite challenging. Um, and really, you use the word faith. You know what I mean? What does that even mean? And so I got a taste of what it means. But at the time, you know, I didn't have any. When I first got into it, it was recovery and all this stuff. I had no connection with religion, except for like ethnically. You know what I mean? Ethnicity. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And
Mm-hmm.
traditions, and family. And I definitely got that because I was born in conservative Jewish family and all that, and so I got that. But I had no connection to it spiritually, and it didn't. It was all to me. It was all just kind of like a fear-based thing. I never connected with it. So this was the first time connecting with something greater than myself. I call that something God, but universe, source, spirit, consciousness, whatever it is for some. And I've gone through all those too, but it's just
Can I ask you a real quick question? When you say the connection, did you ever have like a point where you had like this, not like your lowest point, the epiphany, the connection that you felt it? Like everybody I've talked to before, I'd love to hear that.
No, absolutely. So here's the thing. I already kind of gave two of them. The epiphanies I had when I wasn't at a lowest point, but I was at a point where it was like I was open to it. One was in Payne's Prairie, you know what I mean, as a 21-year-old, whatever, and all of a sudden, literally picking up this acoustic guitar, strumming it. Because I was, before that, as a kid, I was playing electric guitar. It was in the 80s. I was playing, AC/DC and Foreigner and, you know what I mean, whatever, Ozzy. But I pick up this acoustic and just hit an E chord or a G and a C, and I had this awakening, this epiphany. And it's beyond what I can, like, explain, because I could just feel it. Like, there's a purpose. There's something I'm supposed to do here. And then again, it happened, like I said, downloading with that person in that group in 1998. You know what I mean? I'm a therapist, another one. And then it happened again so there was one where it was a down point when I was working for that agency, and I had no experience. The good part about that agency was it was a pseudo private practice. So they would set everything up. You just show up, but it's your practice with your clients. But they basically own it. You know what I mean? They give you 60%, but they own all the marketing and all the pay structure and all that kind of stuff. But it was a great start for me because I had no idea how to do it. And so I remember starting there, and it was November of probably 2004 or five. Yeah, it was. Yeah. And I had no clients, I had a bunch of bills, and you know what I mean? They're just like, well. And I remember breaking down in my office at the time, wasn't my, but it was like at 8:30 at night. And after seeing nobody, the last clients canceled or whatever. And I just, again, had another conversation with God, so to speak. And I was like, I'll do whatever it takes, whatever I'm supposed to do. I can't do it my way. I trust, just whatever. Even if it's something I don't want to do. I don't want to do it. I'm on record. I remember, this is how I talked to God, especially at the time. I'm on record. I don't want to do this, but if I have to go back to doing that, I'll do it. And nothing happened immediately. I got a little bit more calm. But whatever that was, like a Thursday night, let's call it, because I remember it was in November. By the next week, the next Friday, I might have had, because I had maybe 3 clients that week. Maybe it's 7. I don't know. The next week, I had about 12. The following week, I ended that week with like 27 clients. And so I was like, I'm scratching my head. I was like, what is that? You know what I mean? And then after that, I was just bringing it because, it was like, it was a surrender. It's a moment of surrender that you can't just fake it. You can't just go, I surrender, but ... It's just like, I'm all in. And so that I've had to do each time. That's the best way I can explain it, that one. But I've done that in some form or fashion each time I've taken this leap. And then that's the action of faith.
So basic, yeah. And that's what's hitting me is, and what I'd like to just bring out is like for people, we've got a lot of people who, as you know very well, who are going through some serious mental health things these days, fear, trauma, all kinds of things are happening on a daily moment-to-moment basis. And for someone who's been through trauma, like you've known me long enough, it's like there's a point where, this is what I'm hearing from you, it's like there's a point, regardless of the trauma, regardless of all the things that you've gone through, that when you do open yourself to the possibilities of what, it's the surrender, and then open yourself to the possibilities, and I'm using the word open intentionally because of the work you do, that it like creates this vacuum, or how does this, it's like it pulls out the energy that doesn't belong in there anymore, and it opens up a space for that energy of the universe, or however you look at it, to come in and fill you with whatever that is that that's about to happen next. Because like this is the ride of my life is just the epitome of that. It's like I am walking through the trust and just saying, okay, I'm not in the same thing going through financial stuff and da 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 da. And I'm like, what the heck am I doing something like this? Or, you need to go get a job, whatever. And I don't feel that. I feel like this is more important than that. And I feel, and things keep coming to me. And it's like, better than anyone that I did not believe that at one point. So that faith, the surrender, the openness, what else? It's like, if you're at your lowest point, which is why I asked you what that was for you, changes happen as long as you allow yourself to, from my perspective, and work that I do, grieve, release these things, scream, holler, yell, whatever you do to connect or to release first. And then it opens up a space that just brings something in, and it's not even describable. It's indescribable. Yeah. And, but it generally happens with what I call a lowest point or a 2x4 hit. So you get the 2x4 and then you're like, okay, there's a surrender, and it's like this next thing. And then all of a sudden it's like all this stuff starts happening that you totally weren't looking at because you're so focused on the crap that's happening to you. And that's why I wanted you to pull, to mention something about that, because there's so many people out there who don't, like me, possibly like you at one point, who don't believe that that's possible,
No,
and yeah, and it is, because if I can do it, geez, man, anybody can.
Yeah, no, and I yeah, right, I was like that at one point, you know what I mean? That's what I mean, I thought I was supposed to just be in construction management, you know what I mean? So if I was doing that here, I would be literally 25 years later. I couldn't even imagine what my life is, because my life has been so different in the last 25 years from that first leap of hitting bottom. I mean, that one, I literally couldn't function anymore. I remember at 24 having like heart pains in my chest and palpitations. I didn't know what it was. Now, years later, I do. It's called anxiety, and it was panic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I didn't know what it was. And it wasn't even because people were so bad. I mean, I was around some pretty tough people, but it wasn't even that. I mean, that was kind of the sauce, not the meat. The meat was I wasn't who I was supposed to be. I wasn't being who I am. And when we're not being who we are, we're going to have disorder in our lives, be it mentally, physically, emotionally, because spiritually we're not who we are. And again, that's what I mean by spiritually. It's not even necessarily a belief in anything or anybody or anything. It's just connection with who we are and trusting and building that. And then it comes in with that energy of connection, which then we call belief.
So I know something about you that I'm going to pull out, because I really want people to get some kind of an understanding. I know, you walk through this process of connecting with your own heart, because at times our hearts can get hardened, I guess, for lack of better words, from all these traumas and fears, and we're protecting ourselves and all this kind of thing. You're doing the open heart method. Normally, when people get into what they do to help people, they've experienced this themselves. I think that it would be great if you could expand a little bit on how you connected with your heart and the process you got, because I remember you talking about open heart. I'm connecting open heart, and then you turned it into something that's helping other people. So what was that, if you can give like a little glimpse into what that felt like for you, or what that looked like for you, so other people can understand what that whole, connecting to the heart piece is.
Yes, and I will, and when we get to the process, I will, that's a new thing that came to me that is a part of this method.
Oh boy.
But I will tell you, yeah, but it's very simple.
Okay.
But anyways, but what I will go back to is, yeah, basically it's this awakening, awareness versus an awareness that there's something else, there's somebody, there's people, there's energies that um, are not looking for something from me. They're looking to give something to me, meaning whether they're literal people in front of me or energies of spirit, energies of emotionality. And being in that energy, in that circle, in that realm of that, begins to open up. And opening your heart means just to feel more. So to feel safe enough to share, to feel safe enough to cry, to feel safe enough to laugh, to feel safe
Mhm.
enough to speak up and claim something. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so in that safety, that environment of emotional safety, is where the heart opens. And the heart, and basically what I mean by the open heart is just that, especially as men, we're not able to feel, we're just able to think, just think. And it doesn't mean women aren't affected by that too, because women just have to feel, can't think. So whichever way it is, you know what I mean, the society deems on us. It's just opening the heart to, this is how I feel. You know what I mean? This is what I'm experiencing right now, and it's also being in the moment of now. That's the only time the heart can be open. It can't be open yesterday or 3 years from now. I mean, it might have been open yesterday. It will be open three. It doesn't matter. It's only open right now in this moment.
Mhm.
There is no process of before or after.
You gave me some positive. I use this all the time now, so I'm gonna. This is from Noel. This moment that we're in is really all there is. And he said that to me a while ago, and I just wanted, because that's kind of what you alluded to, and I just wanted to say that everything happens in this moment, in this moment, in this moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so that's the only time the heart can be open. That's the only time we can actually energize and integrate with our heart. And
Mhm.
so again, and that's, you're right. It's hard to actually kind of put words to it. That's why in my course that I'm developing, I'm doing, it's all going to touch around it, but the energy of the open heart is it.
Mhm.
It is
Mhm.
it. And so that it's like, so the information, and by the way, this is my course it's a 3 stages: information, implementation, integration. So the information is the mind stuff, because that's how we process. We're talking right now in the mind. Then the implementation is like you said, the mind to the heart, that 18 inches of the long journey. But then that's the different structures on how to do that. And then the integration is the spiritual being.
Mhm.
So it's like, and I at the 3 levels. Belief is of the mind, knowing is of the heart, and being is of the soul.
Mhm.
So we go from belief to knowing to being, and then that's really what the open heart method is.
And that's, I feel like, and I have to say this because that really got me when you said that. The work that you and I did together over the last couple of years in partnership, I feel like that's exactly what happened. And I mean, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of healing going on, a lot of believing, a lot of, and then coming into, I think the biggest piece is where we're at now, is where we're just being who we are. The truth of who we are is what I call it. I know you say who we really, um, finding who we really are, so it's all the same thing. A lot of people have these things, and it's
Yeah,
interesting how everybody's like, oh, okay, but it's just a different way of doing it, and who you connect with and how you connect with it and all that.
yeah.
I do know that you've got this process that you've brought up a couple of times, and I guess this is going to be my thing for these interviews, is being the guinea pig for the person who's being interviewed. I would like it for you if you could just treat me as though I'm a client. Ask me the questions as though I'm a client, and I'll share, because we had already talked about uh, the things that are going on with me right now that I think it would help with, but let's do this as if it's happening, in the moment. Um, and that way other people can either try it on their own while you're doing it, or they can just watch and see what happens. And then I can talk about, afterwards, I can talk about my experience. So I can share that, and that,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? So however you want to go there. So we're going to kind of play a little, what do they call that? A role play? It's not
Role
role
play.
play.
Yeah.
It's real play.
It's real play.
It's real
Yes.
play.
And
So
and,
don't get
and
this
listen.
twisted.
Yeah, and no, that's why I love this little thing, because it really is a simple little thing, and it could go as deep as it's going to go, or whatever. It's not necessarily to get wherever, but it is going to do what it's intended to do. So
Okay.
I was thinking how to do it before, to just do it and then explain. No, I think I need to do a little explanation first. So especially to kind of like guide you into it. So, and I know you're familiar with, but you know, for the audience, familiar with the technique called Ho Ponopono, right? It's an ancient Hawaiian technique that was discovered about, I don't know, 35, 40 years ago by Dr. Liu, right? Lu Hen, and
Yeah.
yeah, Lu Hen. And but anyways, I won't go too much into that because I'll digress. But it's a series of 4 statements that help a person to clear energy um, through the system of the statements. And again, look it up. I mean, I highly recommend it. I know you do, Caroline. So, but you know, it's definitely kind of similar to that. And so, again, another download in the middle of the night. I meditate literally in the middle of the night. Every night I wake up and I just do my however long, half hour, whatever it is, meditation. When my mind tries to run, I meditate. And this came to me. And it's a series of 4 statements that is done in a certain way once and then shifted in another way. And the energy of the statements is to connect with the inner child within us and then have that inner child feel safe enough, remember the of emotional safety, to then release the energy of wherever they're stuck, which is a lot of times in a traumatic energy, and then be able to release that so then we can integrate into our highest selves.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the first time something came to me that, you know, it's like, okay, I do this inner child work, but I'm trying to be in a higher self, but then the inner child's still like, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? Whatever, resisting.
I've met
So,
that inner child.
right. And now going back to the resistance, right? So
Yeah.
how do we release the resistance? So connect, empathize, connect with that inner child. And then they will let go. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? They will let go, especially because it's you. They are you. So, so with that purposes, and then I'll explain to it a little bit more after, but after you do it. And I'm in the middle of developing the actual technique and doing a guided meditation, but here's how it's come to me. So I'm going to give it to you the way to do it. So we'll go ahead and close your eyes.
Do you want me to explain what I'm going through so we're kind of working from something? Because what I usually do is I share the stuff that I go through so people can see that they've gone through it too, or they're going through it, and this is a way
Okay,
out.
yeah, whatever feels right for you. I don't mind
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
I'm just going to give you a guided thing to it, and
so
then
okay, so my question for you is, like, when you're coming in with a client, you've already had a
no,
conversation?
I would do, yeah, I would just tell them like this is where it's coming from, and now just close your and just follow me.
So you wouldn't ask them what they're going through to have them do it, just to get the words out of the story out first? Okay, all right,
No,
okay,
no. I mean, it probably already did do that. You're right,
yeah, well, that's,
but
yeah,
this doesn't. You don't need this technique here
okay,
is to get through a trauma. Sure, I mean, obviously a crisis, right? A trauma, and I mean not even a massive one, but even a mini one, a CPTSD, a complex trauma. It'll do that. But you can just do it because you're doing it. Like again, I bring back the Ho Ponopono, just to do it because it's really very freeing.
got it, okay,
You know what I
all
mean?
right.
So
Well, why don't I just share a little bit about where I'm at now,
okay, yeah, go
and then
ahead.
that way at the end we can go
Okay, I
over
just get it
what I'm
before and
saying
after.
before and
Okay, all
after.
right, I got you. All right, go.
So basically, with this podcast and with the things that are shifting in my life, when I was younger, I just kind of plowed through things, and it didn't faze me to leave people and to go out, and go to the next thing in my life or whatever, when I was in my 30s and 40s, and even when I was in my early or late teens, early 20s in college and stuff. It didn't faze me. I didn't feel what I'm feeling right now. At this point, I'm in the process of prepping for this literal ride, going, as I say, going through the emotions and challenges of what's coming up for me, and leaving friends, and, I'm connecting with friends, and it's like, I went last night to dinner with a friend of mine, and I'm like so present with it. And then when I got done with on my way home, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm leaving in January at some point, and I don't know that it just started to kind of bubble up in me. Like, I'm not going to see, like, I'm feeling it right now. I'm not going to see these people for a long time. that I have known and gotten to be friends with and gotten to be close with. And it's just like, what the heck am I doing? But the challenge is that I know I'm supposed to be doing this. So this is part of, my process in doing the podcast and moving forward and leaving and going and starting this journey. And I'm leaving something behind, and it's a loss. It's grief. It's all this stuff. So it's all kind of bubbling up inside of me right now, all at the same time, where we're going through Christmas and, other little things, challenges that are coming up that I'm not going into right now, but those are coming up. And, for example, I'll share this one, the anniversary of my mother's death 3 years ago. And the stuff you and I went through over the last couple of years with something similar. And it's like, it's all just bubbling up. And my little girl, my inner child is like, some days she's okay. And some days she just wants to start crying. I don't want to leave. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I want to stay. But then if I stay, then I'm prolonging and I'm not doing what I'm being guided to do, what the universe or God or, whatever is drawing me into doing. So it's like all this stuff is just, and my little girl's holding on for dear life, and it's scary, and that's where I'm at going into this. So I just wanted to kind of give a
That's perfect. All right, so it's right on time.
Right on time, just like everything else is. Oh boy.
So yeah, this is perfect for that. Okay, so all right, so the way we would do it here, and the two things that I'm doing physically, breath, close your eyes and breath, and then real quick, the whole word placing of your hands. And so as you'll know, this is more of the body energy to it. But our left hand is a receiving, and our right hand is where we give. So the energy comes in through the left and then releases through the right. The left energy and the right out. And so the way that I structure the hands is put left hand on basically it's your heart. I call it your heart center, but it's in the middle of your chest, heart chakra, and your right hand on your stomach, right at your belly button. And so what that does right there is, first of all, if you really look at it, like anybody who's held a baby, like like an infant, a newborn, that's where you hold them. That their bottoms are in your right hand, and then so right in the belly. And so also the heart is we're receiving the energy of this love and this connection, and we're giving it, and then into the solar plexus at the stomach is where the inner child is. It's the seat of the inner child, so to speak. So okay, so we have the left hand on our chest and the right hand on our stomach. We'll close our eyes, and then just whatever your breathing is, in the count of 4 in, hold to 2, breathe out for 4, 5, 6, slowly. And just connect with the little girl inside of you and call her by her name, because, and I know for you it's Carrie, And so I want you to just say this statement: I see you, Carrie.
Say it a little bit louder.
I see you, Carrie.
Oh boy. I see you, Carrie.
Okay. Another breath in through the nose. And out. Now, I hear you, Carrie.
I hear you, Carrie.
Breathe in. Out. I love you, Carrie.
I love you, Carrie.
Okay. Breathe in. Out. I trust you, Carrie.
I trust you, Carrie.
Yes. Deep breath. Do one more round like that. 2. I see you, Carrie.
I see you, Carrie.
I hear you, Carrie.
I hear you, Carrie.
I love you, Carrie.
I love you, Carrie.
I trust you, Carrie.
I trust you, Carrie.
Deep breath. And now we're going to say, I see me.
Say that one more time. It was soft.
I see me.
I see me.
I hear me.
I hear me.
I love me.
I love me.
I trust me.
I trust me.
And then one more round. I see me.
I see me.
I hear me.
I hear me.
I love me.
I love me.
I trust me.
I trust me.
Deep breath. Open your eyes when you're ready. And then to kind of come back to center, you can change your hand position to your right hand on your chest and your left hand on your stomach. Let's change them and take a deep breath in and out slowly. And this is a little added piece that I've added to it. And just say the statement, I am thankful in this moment.
I am thankful in this moment.
And then I am thankful for this moment.
I am thankful for this moment.
Whenever you're ready, come back into your
Did you say open your eyes?
yes.
Holy cow. That's a good download. Wow. Feedback. It was harder, definitely connecting because well, for starters, you know me and you knew exactly what to say, which started this thing going. My nickname when I was little was Carrie, and you cheated because you knew that. So that part was harder until you went into the second part, which I started to feel stronger. And I still felt a little bit of the, you know, the little girl shaky kind of thing, but the grown up, not shaky, stronger, connected with that little girl. And then the switch, I'm telling you right now, this, I'm feeling like a little buzzy tingly right here in my forehead. The switch moved that where you didn't describe it, so I'm guessing this is what it is from receiving to receiving heart, giving child, to giving heart, receiving your child, and being in the moment doing it.
Yes.
And that, like, kind of like my whole body, I can feel this. I can't describe it. I don't like when this happens, but I can't describe it. It's like this energy is going from here and I can feel it in my root chakra. And yeah,
that's called the Kundalini. I mean, that's a Kundalini experience.
holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is powerful, and you got a good download on this one. Like, I'm gonna have to cycle through this. Let's see what's going on. It's good timing. But yeah, wow. Give me a second to come back.
No, and I will. And what I can do in the meantime is I can explain what that is.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so those statements are really simple. Like I said, they're very simple. But it was like, I always say, it was told to me, whatever it was. I had to download the information given to me in the middle of the night was in this order. It needed to be in this order. And so here's why, now to get back to the explanation, which people really need to kind of walk them through it. I see you. So when you say to a child, I see you, when the child is seen, that child knows they exist. I mean, I'm talking about from 0 to about 3 or 4. They don't, if they're not seen, they're really out there. You know what I mean? So at least they need to be seen. So being seen as a child, you exist. You're alive. The next one is I hear you. The hear. So, and I know you've heard this, and it's said a lot. It used to be in the old days. Children should be seen, not heard. Well, the problem with not being heard is there is no connection. So yeah, at least they're being seen. They know they exist, but then they don't know who they are. They're not connecting. So the first one is I see you. The second one is I hear you. Now the child feels seen and heard. Then the third one is I love you. And the I love you is, yeah, they feel the energy of love, the connection of love. And yes, the child does need to be told they love. I've had people an 83-year-old man. Dad never told him he loved him. His dad's been dead
Wow.
for decades now. His father's been dead for 25 years or longer, but probably longer. But never told him he loved him. And there's a man at 83, going, kind of end of life stuff because he's kind of ill, and just getting to that point. But so he's never told he's loved. So telling a child and feeling that love, so they feel seen, heard, and loved. And then the fourth one is the big one. I trust you. Telling a child that you trust you, and it came to me. It's like, what do you trust? I mean, the kids don't know what to do. It's not I trust you know what to do, because they don't know what to do. They need to be taught. I trust you know who you are. When they feel like they're trusted, boom, a kid that's seen, heard, loved, and trusted is grounded, is powerful, is, you know what I mean? They don't live out of fear, and they can literally walk through life. And so that's what that initial is. I see you in that order. It's like the Ho Ponopono needs to be, I see you, I hear you, I love you, I trust you. And then we shift it, because now the child once the child feels seen, heard, loved, and trusted, he or she will allow that to say, like, to the higher self, I see me, I hear me, I love me, I trust me. And I could tell, my feedback to you is I could feel it. It's not just when we did go from the you to the me, I could feel you just, much more confident and you know what I mean, and centered. Um, you know what I mean? And I could get that energy, and that's what I mean. That's why the integration, that's why I call it an integration meditation, because we connect with the little child, and then he or she allows us to integrate, and then and now we feel in that moment.
Wow. All right. I have to bring this up. That connected me with you in this moment too, because on my way to coming to do this podcast, I was thinking about the the first time that you and I connected, and I remembered this. I mean, this had nothing to do, I mean, I'd never even considered saying this until just now because it helped me to connect to your heart. So there was that going on also. But when we first connected in your apartment the first time, and we had started our first conversation talking or whatever, and I could feel that little boy in you that couldn't trust.
Yeah.
You remember that, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And now seeing, oh God, now seeing you do this, did you do this on yourself too?
Well, yeah, constantly, especially the
Okay.
first night. I mean, the first night was all, it wasn't even, if I didn't teach
Oh
one
my
person,
God.
I needed it for me first and for
Well,
one.
that's why I'm bringing, this is very powerful. And the fact that I had that memory coming over to, getting set up to start this, I'm like, you had such a lack of trust in yourself and in me that day. And the difference that I see and how that energy just shifted for me, and in seeing you totally different from that day. I mean, I can still vividly see that face, the little boy who was like, and that's the look of not trust. It's like this thing. And now seeing this and experiencing this, and it's like, wow, this is huge. Cause I'm like, I can't, this is another one I can't figure out how to explain it. It's just the energy in
Well,
that.
and,
Go
and
ahead.
I'll give my secret to what this is.
Okay.
It doesn't even really matter because it all just comes in the energy and then whatever gets channeled
Well,
through.
that's why I wanted to bring that up. That's the most important
No,
piece
and I
of the
appreciate that.
energy.
And
Yeah.
because this level of trust is love in action. Trust is, and if a child never feels trusted, they can't trust.
Right.
You know what I mean? They can't, if they don't feel trusted, they won't trust you. I mean, it's not that they don't want to,
Mm-hmm.
they literally can't, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so to tell that little child from the grown up you, that's the highest self, she can and will believe and trust in you because she is you.
Mm-hmm.
Like she needed it from mom and dad, didn't get it. It's okay. Didn't get it. It's okay. But now it has to be from the higher self in herself.
Right.
So
Right.
that trusted thing is really important. That's really the key to the whole thing because I've had it. Trust me. I went through like wait, seen, heard. Love is the last one. Love is not love. The kicker in this is trust. So
Mm-hmm.
once we feel loved and then we're trusted, we know we're loved. Remember going
Mm-hmm.
from here to here. If
Mm-hmm.
I feel trusted, I know I'm loved as a child.
Yeah.
I can be told that if I'm not trusted, I might think I am. I hope I am. You know what I mean? Unless I do something wrong. But that's the difference. So
Yeah. That's
it's been a
so
huge piece for me
incredible.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so powerful. I'm also feeling tingly up here, so something's happening here. But that's I think this was meant to happen, especially between us, because this is also another healing piece, a higher level of healing for us too, because that's what I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling our little inner kids who have been playing and fighting and not talking to each other and doing all this stuff over the last couple of years, whatever we went and singing together and whatever is like now feels like in this moment like there's this healing thing going on because I can literally feel this whole thing, and that's amazing. Yeah, keep this one up. I like this one. Make sure if you haven't done it yet, to record this for people. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
If they could hear your voice in a recording of
No,
this.
I did. Yeah, no, and I appreciate it. I have done it, but then, as you know, there's a lot of moving parts of that.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of rushed. But no, it's in process because
Okay.
you're right. This is a good thing to really, and like I said, this is good for when you are feeling Trump. This is good when you're just feeling regular, like okay, life, it's like a boost. You know what I mean? Because it
Well,
really will boost you.
I'm glad you said that because I know there's going to be like a integration
Yeah.
after this is done, but I feel different about what I told you before. I feel like my little girl's excited and my adult is like just open. open to the next steps, open to the next. I'm not scared well, I might get it, but that's where I'm waiting for the integration. I'm sure,
Right.
it'll all come, but whew. Okay, like this
Yeah.
could go on forever.
No, but that's beautiful.
Thank
And then
you.
no, you're welcome. Thank you. And then the last part, the act of gratitude, and that came to me too. I'm thankful in this moment because that's a choice. I could say I'm thankful in this moment. Well, just saying it is kind of an action of gratitude, and then shift it to I'm thankful for this moment. It's absolute gratitude. And again, that's where the heart's open. So all these go back to opening the heart.
Yeah.
And so, and there's the explanation. I guess that's the best way I can explain the open heart
Yeah.
method.
Well, and
And
that's the thing. It's like I'm so not in my head right now. Even while I'm doing this, I'm not in my head. I'm right here with you in this moment, which is all there is.
right.
Famous last words. So, okay. Well, I have a couple more questions before we wrap up. And if you could just do a quick description of some of the formats besides this one, or processes that you do, because you're not just doing therapy, you're not just doing energy work, you're not just doing spiritual work, you're doing mind, body, spirit, soul, the whole thing, heart, everything. So if
So,
you
so
can.
yeah, so the different things. So yeah, so I mean, I do what called standard individual therapy,
Mhm.
and people can book literally book a consultation to talk to me on my website, and literally pick a day and a time and whatever, and then connect, and then we'll connect and see if I'm a fit for you. You can, what I mean, whatever can happen. And so the individual therapy, and not to be technical, in state of Florida, you know what I mean, because I'm licensed in the state of Florida to do individual mental health therapy. But as a coach, so that's individual therapy. As a coach, which I still use therapeutic processes, but as a coach, the open heart method to gain open heart mastery, I can do wherever. And that is this, and it's also helping people, that are needing their careers. Like we talked about a career. I'm helping people, jump to entrepreneurship, helping people
Mhm.
to overcome, where it is, where they live, where they're going, where, the relationship they're in, not because of fighting, but because of what they want and how they want it and how to express themselves in that. Like these are different things on growth. And so
Mhm.
the open heart mastery would be like we would set a timetable of goals, as you're aware of in coaching, and master the goals using the open heart method. Um, and the other format I have is called Songwriting for Wellness. And not to make it too long, but to have some brevity into it. And that was the thing, and we had set that out, and we had done that, and so use the word download. For me, I'm blessed. I'm grateful that I can download different music, just playing my guitar and different chord structures, and then I can do vocalizations, and create like how a song could sound, which is really key because people just think it's lyrics and music, but no, how you sing it is
Mhm.
really, and that one comes to me, and I love that part. So then I have a client who's either got a trauma or a past life thing, in their lives that something happened, or they want to remember something, or they're paying homage to. I have one client now he's writing for his fiance, to just show his love for her, his appreciation. So, and I have, they just either write a poem or lyrics, or just send me something kind of a paragraph of journal or something, and I'll sit down and I'll help them write lyrics and create the song, and either they sing, or if it's a poem they recite and I play, or whatever the case may be, I sing it, and we create literally a song about the scenario. And in doing so, there's a catharsis. It shifts the energy from mind to heart to soul, and it's called Songwriting for Wellness.
Mhm.
Uh, and the thing I'm working on right now, um, is a course, because so you can only trade so many hours of a day. So I'm creating a course called Face Your Fears. And again, the long and short of it is using the practice of love, of forgiveness, acceptance, compassion, empathy, to overcome blame, worry, um, judgment, and resentment.
Mhm.
And so
Beautiful.
most of us are living in these type of things. And so that course is coming soon, early 2022. and that's the way that, and then I always give free content and all kinds of good stuff.
That's awesome. Yes, yes. That's so cool how, yeah. And it's interesting how, and I got to say this, that a lot of the work that you and I did together kind of is getting integrated in the work that we're doing individually, because that's how it just showed up. And it's helping people, and it's so powerful. And I love every one of those things. I know about the songwriting, because we did that, and I loved that, and we watched and experienced people totally shifting, and that's so huge, and that's something that I think is important, because music to me is so important, and you obviously, in the healing process, and having it together is like, oh my God. So I have to say that about this. That's just my little throw in input thing here. So really the last thing I wanted to ask you was how, and I will be posting these things on, like I said, YouTube and Anchor and posts and different things. If you could just tell people how they can get in contact with you, like your website, Instagram, what social media, whatever that is. And then we'll share all that stuff after.
Yeah, I mean, the simpler the better for me. So my website is just my name, noelneu.com. And, again, you can connect with me, either booking a consultation or emailing right off my website, or my number's on there, whatever the case may be. But noelneu.com. And on my website, there's the music medicine cabinet, which you can actually listen to them songs, and I talk about where they come from, and I'm going to be doing more exploratory stuff with that, like what they're about and what they actually help with. One helps with anxiety, grief, grief and loss and things like that, and all kinds of
I might have to take some of those to help my peoples.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. And so that's where I'm releasing my music. It's on my website. And I will release it out and all the other things, but really right now it's like, to meld it together, to keep it in one place. So, and you download a free PDF on the Face Your Fears guide and things like that, and getting ready for the course. So noelneu.com. A lot of my stuff I do now on Instagram. And the handle there is at Songwriting Therapy. Just one word, Songwriting Therapy, but you'll see a picture of me. And so that one is just getting started, but that's where I share most of the new stuff. But it also goes to Facebook. The Facebook page is also at Songwriting Therapy. So it's just Facebook /
Beautiful.
at Songwriting Therapy, Facebook and Instagram. And but like I said, and then to subscribe, because I do emails like you do with that every time I have a new blog post or whatever the case may be. The emails come out, and I really try not to. I really try to be content that's worthy of reading and worthy of getting, because I know people are busy and this and that. But on my website you can subscribe and then get the emails, which are usually 1 or 2 a week, depending on what I post. But creating a newsletter. So.
Awesome! Yay! So, last thing, is there anything else you might want to share on the ride of my life? Because this is like this crazy roller coaster thing happening, and it's very exciting, and I'm really so grateful that you decided to do this, and I can put this out there and share you and who you are and how you can help people, what you do. And was just wondering if there was anything else.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd love to share is that I'm really proud of you. I mean, I've known you for a while, and I don't just mean like 3 years or whatever. I mean, I know the depths of who you are, just as you do me. I know what you've come through. I know everything about you and your family. And so that you're going for this is very empowering and powerful, because I know it's healing you. And as you continue to heal you're being that energy of spirit to the world around you. And that's your truth. And so, yeah, just much love and
that means a lot to me. Thank you. Wow. Whew, so it was worth all of that, all the growth, right? Yes.
It always is.
It always
Growth is always worth it.
It
Yes.
always is, head to heart,
Yes.
both
That's right.
places.
That's right.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's right. All right. Okay, hang on. Let me get myself together here and then I can say goodbye to everybody. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this podcast, The Ride of My Life. And I'm so grateful that you decided to join us. And I hope you have a wonderful day and, for Noel, a wonderful moment by moment in this moment. All right. Take care. And what's a good phrase?
I always say much love, much
Much
love.
love, much love. I'll do a much
You
love
say
for
it.
you.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
Have a good day.